Hello, this is Brendan Wilmington of the Left Turn Network, and welcome back to another Lumen Stock Car Invitational Series race, season number 4, race number 24, and we are here at the Texas Motor Speedway for the Lone Star 600. This race has always been the longest one on the schedule. Beforehand, it was an 84 lap, 126-mile race, but the Texas Motor Speedway has decided they want to extend the race again, and we are now running a full-on 100-lap endurance race here at Texas. We're going to have 3 pit stops here, the only 3-stopper on the schedule. They say that everything is bigger in Texas, and that includes the races. And I'm excited to see how this race will go down for sure. And we've got Josh Williamson up in the booth with us for the second time this year. Josh, happy to have you up here, of course, as a Texan yourself. What are you expecting for this new crown jewel race on the schedule? What should we expect to happen here today?
A lot of wild racing to start, and then as time goes along, or as the race goes along, rather, you'll see the field spread out. There's going to be a lot of pit strategy later on, and likely whoever's the earliest to do the undertake, I imagine whoever's the earliest to do it at the end is going to be the one we got to watch out for to have the best shot of winning this race. Somebody could try to go long. We'll just see what happens. Depends on where the cautions fall, of course. But this is going to be a very strategy dependent race. If caution, depending on where cautions fall, you could see a thrilling race to the finish. And it's not, I know it sounds silly in real life because we think Texas Motor Speedway hasn't really delivered that. But here it's been fantastic. So we'll see how it is tonight. Looking forward to this beautiful evening and nighttime race here in the DFW Metro. It's going to be a interesting one for sure.
Yeah, and last year's race here at Texas had a crazy fuel mileage finish, and we saw Kate Summers get the win there. And that was with a shorter race, so you can imagine, if things fall right, we might get fuel mileage here again. But one thing that I do want to point out in terms of the drivers, a lot of Toyotas starting up at the front. The Toyotas have struggled a lot this season. They only have 2 wins as a manufacturer. Do you think this could be a good race for the Toyotas to shine here as they've locked out the front row, and I believe there are 8 of them in the top 14?
I definitely believe so. It seems like they've brought some good machinery to the track. Obviously, they've qualified up towards the front. They've practiced good, and we'll see if they can put their money where their mouth is tonight.
Yeah, let's go over your starting lineup here for the second time in 4 weeks. It's Karina Willis Calloway starting on the front row, and Karina's always been a solid qualifier, but this is really the best we've seen her qualify. Of course, at Mansfield, she had a really fast car, but unfortunately had a engine failure from second place late in the race, so just wasn't meant to be for that 41 car, but hopefully, this race will be better for her. Lakin Herndon starting alongside her on the front row, still looking for his first win of the season. Of course, Karina Willis Calloway on a long winless streak. But Herndon's winless streak only dates to last year. He's won every single season. He's been very consistent this year, just has not found victory lane. Row number 2, you've got 2 of your championship contenders, although realistically, we all know who's going to end up winning the championship. Tim Berry starting in P4, Zach Dearman starting in 3rd. Row number 3, we've got the 50 of Jacob Lopez and the 5 of Cassidy Jones, putting the Action Racing Toyota, which has struggled quite a bit this season, up into the top 5 in qualifying. So a very impressive run here from the young driver. And, she's had a bit of ups and downs in the amateur series, but when she's been in a cup car so far, she's looked very impressive. Row number 4, we've got the 3 of George Bryan and the 27 of Adrian Fearson, who is finding some speed as of late, despite having struggled for most of the year. So Fearson's definitely starting to appear up here at the front a little more often towards the tail end of the season. Damon Kirby gets a top 10 start as well, alongside the 62 of Vinny Scholes. Then you've got the 99 car of Akiya Tajima and the 19 of Jake Sidney, your Rookie of the Year leader, and likely Rookie of the Year winner, as he has gapped Joanna Clark and James Harvin by quite a bit at this point of the season. Lulu Connie in the number 42 alongside the 45 of James Harvin. Then it's the 77 of GT Boyd and the 52 car of Ashley Blake. 24, that is Cooper Spur alongside the 88 of Billy Smith. You've got the 85 car of Charlie McCarron alongside the 1 of Kevin DuPont. Shauna Everett in the number 57 car alongside the 66 of Tyler Landry. The 81 car, that is Jack Gino, and the 65 of Tamarin Bellinger. I just want to point out, by the way, the highest starting Honda, we pointed out how the Toyotas were mostly good in qualifying. The highest starting Honda is Kevin DuPont, or no, it's Cooper Spur, who is starting in 19th. So the Honda's definitely struggled a lot in qualifying. Then you've got the 58 of Joanna Clark alongside the 79 of Kobe Hollenbeck. Lori Jackson with a new sponsor on that number 9 car this week alongside the 40 of Adrian Wheeler. 55, that is Michael Harvin in the Emirates car, and the 8 of Darren Walker. Couple of McPicky Motorsports teammates in row 16. It's the 16 car of Corbin Taps, who has been struggling in qualifying as of late, alongside the 6 car of Holly Martin. Couple of Toyotas that did not get those same qualifying upgrades, it seems. The 92 of Kate Summers, winner of this race last year, and the 29 of JV Chanot. And rounding out the field is the 2 car of Rhea Whitcomb. There were 3 D&Qs for this race. They were Jami McJasmina in the 32, Andrew Kreider in the 70, and the 33, driven by Riley Pearson. Again, we're going to have a 100-lap race, likely a 3-stop race. When those pit stops happen are going to be highly dependent on if we get any cautions and when they fall. So there's going to be a lot of strategy, especially tire strategy kicking in if we get a long green flag run. And that, to me, is when the track is at its best. So we could be in for a very fun one here at Texas.
Drivers, start your engines!
And the field will roll off of the back straightaway here at the Texas Motor Speedway. No mechanical failures on the start. Josh, who do you think is going to win here at Texas?
I'm going to go right there in the 5th place. Talking about Toyota Power coming in, looks like they've got a pretty good setup here to start this race. But I'm going to go with Cassidy Jones to win this race because I think they're in a really good spot to start. There's going to be some cycling early on, but look for Cassidy to have it in the long haul.
That would be a massive, gigantic upset. That 5 car has not been fast this year, but Cassidy Jones has put it up in the top 5, so she's got a shot at this thing. But it's going to be a couple other Toyotas, Karina Willis Callaway and Lakin Herndon, that will lead them to the green. We are underway in the Lone Star 600. Rounding out turn number 4, coming to lap number 1, side by side. Looked like Talladega there for a moment. Zach Dearman will lead lap number 1. Tim Berry has found his way to the bottom. He's going to try and take second away from your pole sitter, but you can get a run up off the top on turn 2, and that's what you see the 41 doing right now. And that's part of where it differs from the real-life track, where you really can't get anything going on the outside in 1 and 2, but you can a little bit on the exit of the corner, kind of similar to what we saw back at Michigan last week. But the 41's able to hold on to second, but the 11 is still pressuring her from behind. George Bryan, Vinny Scholes rounding out the top 5. The 39 and the 5 are slipping from their top 5 starting spots. We'll see if they'll be able to recover from that, but the 18 and 41 are trying to form a breakaway here early in the race.
They're doing a fantastic job of that so far. Tim Berry there in the 3rd position, waiting in the wings. He's pulling away from the 62
Uh-oh, I thought I saw
at the
smoke.
moment.
Caution is out.
And
Jack Gino and Holly Martin. It looked like maybe a couple others got some contact too, but the 6 and the 81 are going to get the worst of it. They're going to race back to the line, as I think that caution definitely happened after the leader crossed the line. So it will be Zach Dearman who will lead them back. And I see more cars that are gone. Oh, some of them did slow down for the yellows, so bit of
Looked like it was
confusion
in the
there.
middle of the field. Middle of the field, right at the first apice going through the quad oval there. That's not a good place for that to happen, but credit to most of everyone for making it through. Looks like they did a fairly good job of getting their way through that.
Ooh, the 2 of Rhea Whitcomb and the 24 of Cooper Spur have some right side damage, and then of course the 6 and the 81 getting the worst of it. And it looks like these guys might be coming into the pits here on lap number 5. Gonna get the pit stops started early, and with this early of a pit, honestly, we might end up seeing 4 pit stops in this race if this plays out, which again, that's not something that these guys are used to. The pit crews are definitely going to play more of a factor than they usually do here tonight, and that could make things pretty exciting and shake things up, but here we are, lap number 6, and everybody is going to make their first pit stops now.
Going to be interesting to see. I don't know if we're going to see a whole lot of, well, they're going right sides here. See if they do left sides as well. Some of them, well,
Billy
my
Smith.
goodness, they're already doing it. Okay. I like this move by Billy Smith. It's early, so
Gas and go
I
for a
like
few
this.
cars. The 65 and 57 didn't take tires at all, and neither did Billy Smith. They only took fuel.
Well, we hardly wore out those tires on that run. It was only for 4 laps, so take it as long as you can and save your stuff for maybe a short run later on in the race. I like that move.
Yeah, that's going to help Billy Smith get to the lead. That'll get him a lot of track position. He finished second in this race last year to Kate Summers and all that fuel mileage craziness, so he's finished good here before. Karina will cycle out ahead of Zach Dearman, and she'll end up in second. Dearman will drop to third, Barry fourth. Then it's Tajima and the 65 of Bellinger. Bellinger also took fuel only. So we'll see. I mean, again, only 4 lap difference in tires. Tire wear is a factor here, but it's not as much of a factor as it is at like Iowa or a place like that. So this could work out for Billy Smith. We'll have to see how this ends up playing out as the race goes on. And I like the early strategy that we're seeing in this race. We're wrapping up caution number 1 of the race very early on. And we're going to show you the replay of what happened, and we'll get back to the restart here at Texas. First caution of the race here at Texas. Kobe Hollenbeck and Cooper Spur make contact, which turns the 2 into the 81. He bounces off the wall and nowhere to go for the 6 car of Holly Martin. And those two are going to be ending up getting the worst of it, even though they had nothing to do with how the wreck started. And that's just how it is sometimes in racing. Sometimes you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you just end up getting swept up into it. And it's going to be an early end of the days of Jack Gino and Holly Martin. Very unfortunate. They started out back, and they really didn't have a chance to show what kind of speed they had here today in the race. So, yeah, heavy damage to both race cars, but that should make things interesting with that early caution. Maybe a little bit of strategy being played under the yellow flag. We'll see how that ends up playing out.
And this is not a fun place to have an accident here. Brutal accident for the 81 and right back into traffic. That is a harsh angle to hit the wall and nowhere to go for the 6. And that's just an unfortunate accident. But with the way this track is shaped, unfortunately, in a situation like that, not really a whole lot of anything anybody could have done different there. Wrong place, wrong time for driver the 6, the 81. It's going to cut a few races early, unfortunately.
Welcome back here at the Texas Motor Speedway, wrapping up caution number 1 of the race. Holly Martin and Jack Gino are both out of it, and the 24 and 2 are damaged. Billy Smith did not take tires under that caution. He ended up only taking fuel, but most of the cars behind him did take tires. And we are going to see how much of a difference that 4-lap difference in tires will make. As he's got a hungry pack of cars behind him. Also worth noting, the 65 of Tameron Bellinger also did not take tires under the caution. Pace car is going to pull into the pits, and Billy Smith will lead them back in the number 88 for Patriot Racing Incorporated. And we are back racing here at Texas.
Good solid restart. Not a whole lot of jockeying until we get back there. Yellow Submarine dips to the inside. That is the Shauna Everett car. She goes around the inside trying to get the spot there on the 13. More battling erupting down the back straightaway into turn number 3. And it's basically full throttle on this end of the racetrack because of how slow you are through 1 and 2.
Zach Dearman is going to move back up into second. Tajima is going to try and take third from the 41. Not a good restart from Karina Willis-Callaway. She's going to find herself stuck on the outside. We saw her get the run on the outside off of 2 earlier, but not going to quite get it this time. But here comes Dearman closing up to the back bumper of Billy Smith. He's been known as the closer. He's won 3 times this year, trying to look for a record-breaking 4th, and he's done all of them on late race passes. So it's a bit unusual for him to be stalking the leader this early in the race. But he's going to try and peek the nose under the 88. He just bumped and ran him up the track. They're going to go 3 wide for second. And that 88 is marooned up on the outside lane. Zach Dearman bringing out the bumpers on lap 11.
Patience, heck. Dearman immediately to the lead. And in behind him, here comes the Mobil 1 Toyota. That is the 99
Kia Tajima.
Kia Tajima gonna go for the lead. Here comes Tim Berry on the inside.
Berry, Vinny Scholes, the 45 of Harbin. We got a lot of cars here on the inside. There's Kevin DuPont in the 1. We pointed out he was one of the better qualifying Hondas, but the Honda struggled in qualifying. But at least the 1 seems like he has good race pace. He was also fast at Michigan last week, trying to get that first win of the season. And again, he's the defending champion, so you'd expect he'd have a win by now, but, you know, title defenses in LSCI have not gone very well for really anybody. So it's not that shocking, I guess, if you see the pattern, to see the 1 car struggling. But, you know, who's not struggling is Tim Berry. He's got a 101-point lead entering this race, and if he finishes good here today, that might just put it away from everybody else.
Battle for the lead.
Here we go. For the lead, here comes Tajima down to the inside of Dearman. They're going to go side by side into turn 1.
Inside lane's going to be preferable in the early run for Tajima. And still door-to-door going down the back straightaway. A better run on the outside on exit. And through this section, you got to be down to that inside because it's almost full throttle. But doing a great job of holding that outside. On the corner exit, they almost run into each other. And Dearman doing a fantastic job up top. But here comes a Kia Tajima on the inside trying to take it away. And this time they will.
Tajima, he's going to get by the inside of Dearman. That outside lane is still open, though. The 18 still trying to peek his nose up there. But I just don't see him being able to do it. Here comes Vinny Scholes. Trying to make it 3 wide for second. Wasn't quite able to get the nose under. Vinny Scholes desperate for her first career win in that number 62 car. Still trying to look underneath Tim Berry as Tajima is going to try and run away from these drivers, but you can't get away too far here at Texas because the draft is definitely still important here despite the kind of wonkiness of the corners. James Harvin going to try and drive it in deep. They're trying to drive it in very deep into turn 3, but they keep sliding up the track a little bit. Not very much grip despite it being night out. So that might come into effect, especially later in the run when the tires start to wear out as well, and it might become difficult to pass as it goes on. And here comes Scholes trying to take second away from Tim Berry, but Berry gets a good run on the outside, and it looks like he'll be ahead of her for now. Oh, Zach Dearman. He might have almost gotten a taste of his own medicine right there. That's Billy Smith's teammate, George Bryan, that threatened to give him the bumper in the corner there, almost like what he did to Billy Smith earlier, and Dearman is falling back quickly.
Maybe that's a little bit of karma being dished up there for Dearman, but to the inside, here comes, Vinny Schultz going to the inside on Barry for the second position. Barry holds on for the time being, but on corner exit again, we see him not get off the corner as well. That's going to be a trend. Maybe we'll see the rest of the race. Not getting off of turn 4 well at all, but holding it well on the outside. But you sacrifice exit speed as 3 wide behind.
George Bryan's getting aggressive. Now he's underneath the two guys that battled for the championship last year. They're both going to get shuffled up top. This could let Tyler Landry get some spots. He will get one from Tim Barry, it seems. And he might get past the one car as well. But you can see the gap opening up between Tajima and the fellow Toyota of Scholes. Here comes James Harvin, who had a top 5 run at Michigan. That was his home track last week. And he's trying to build on that momentum here in this 45 car, looking for his first LSCI win. But the 62 gets that run off of turn 2, and she'll be ahead for now, but the 45's not done yet. Boy, these cars are really making contact in the corners here at Texas. I'm getting kind of nervous here.
Well, they're doing a fantastic job of keeping their wheels under them. They're not afraid to beat and bang. We know that. These things were given fenders for a reason, but man, they are doing a fantastic job of keeping their wits about them and not pushing it too far. Schultz to the outside, and here comes the 66 down to the inside. That's going to be for the 4th position.
Tyler
as Landry will take it from Vinny Schultz, and now
Caution's
here comes
out.
the caution. Big crash front straightaway again.
Oh no!
Heavy damage. Oh
Cassidy
my goodness.
Jones. And more ahead. Kobe
Big
Hollenbeck,
crash.
Jacob Lopez, Tamarin Bellinger, Joanna Clark. That's both the Diamond Motorsports cars, and possibly more, as the 92, 57, and 2 are off the pace. Back to the line. Got to be careful here. Akira Tajima will lead them back. It looks like everybody's cleared up now, so no further issues. Lap number 23, we've seen our second accident of the race. This one is bigger than the last one. Ooh, be careful. And unfortunately...
Again, they're in the quad oval, though.
Yeah, that's the same spot as last time. Unfortunately, your 5th place starter, Cassidy Jones, and your 6th place starter, Jacob Lopez, both have heavy damage. I imagine that's probably going to be the end of the day for both of them. Here we go. It stops again.
And this is a little less shocking. This time we've been about 15, 16 laps since the last caution, so less shocked to see the drivers coming in this time. Of course, the 99 of Tajima leads the brigade in, and we'll see what kind of strategies get cooked up here. Is anybody going to try to short pit? I doubt it at this point. Again, we're on these for a longer time, so I imagine we're going to see 4 tires and a splash of fuel across the board here.
Yeah, the 88, of course, tried the strategy of not taking tires in the last yellow, and it didn't really work out for him. He slid back pretty quickly, and of course, that really didn't work out for the 65 because they ended up in that accident. Looks like Tajima will win the race off pit road. Everybody looks like they're taking 4 tires. Landry will jump up to 2nd. James Harvin 3rd. Michael Harvin, James's brother, is jumped up to 5th as Brian is in 4th. And yeah, 4 tires across the board for all these guys. That's not too surprising, as this track has proven to wear out the tires pretty quickly. 11 and 62, who were both running in the top 5, both had pretty slow pit stops in the pit lanes, so they're going to have to try and get all that track position back. Well, there's your second caution of the race. Let's check to see. The 5 is indeed out of the race, and I imagine the 50 will be following suit. Ashley Blake also has a lot of damage in the 52 cars, so yeah, quite a few cars involved in that one, and I don't know how this 50's still going. But they're going to try and keep him back out there. I think he's going to come back into the pits again. I don't think he's done repairing damage, so Yeah, second caution of the race, we're going to show you what happened to Lopez, Jones, and the rest of them, and then we'll get you back to the restart here in the Lone Star 600. Kobe Hollenbeck chasing it up the track and once again gets into the car next to him. And once again, Cassidy Jones gets swept up in it, even though she had nothing to do with the start of it. That's just unfortunate for her. Already fell to the back of the field there. Lori Jackson, Jacob Lopez, Kate Summers, and then Joanna Clark are all going to get involved in that. Although Lori Jackson and Kate Summers ended up getting out of it pretty light in comparison to the 50, the 79, and the 5. So, yeah, that's just unfortunate. That's pretty much the same thing that caused the first accident by the same driver that was in that same situation. And just a rough season for Kobe Hollenbeck. And this race is just punctuating it here. Has quite a bit of damage on that Little Caesars Toyota. But that's going to bring out caution number 2 of the day here and should make things interesting for the pit strategy once again.
So Hollenbeck drives it in too hard on the outside. Cassidy Jones really nowhere to go. And then beyond that, it's just calamity. 4, 5, 6 cars getting involved. More damage as they run into the outside wall. Just unfortunate here. And that is unfortunately, again, going to take some more cars out of the race a lot earlier than they would have hoped.
On board with the 9 of Lori Jackson. I mean, all things considered, she got through that pretty light. Just a little scrape to the side there, getting into the wall. I mean, she was right in the thick of it, so the fact that she didn't get any more damage than she did is pretty outstanding. Welcome back here at the Texas Motor Speedway, wrapping up caution number 2 of the race. We have 2 more cars out of the race, the 50 of Jacob Lopez and the 5 of Cassidy Jones. Ashley Blake is trying to repair that car and get back out there. She's still in the pit, so she's probably going to fall multiple laps down. Your top 5 right now is 1 lone Toyota being chased by 4 Chevrolets. It's Tajima in first, and then Landry, James Harvin, George Bryan, and Michael Harvin rounding out the top 5. Then you see DuPont, Dearman, Damon Kirby, Jake Sidney, and Vinny Scholes lurking inside the top 10. Pace car pulls off. Tajima will lead them back to the green. We are underway once again here at the Texas Motor Speedway. Not a good restart by the 18.
Not at all. Dearman slipping back on the outside as the 1 goes by on the inside. Singled out all the way up to our race leader for the time being. It's probably not going to stay that way. Here's Vinny Scholes trying to get to the inside. 3 wide for a moment, but gets through. 2 for 1. Nearly there for Vinny.
That was a very dangerous spot to go 3 wide. They made it work, though. Here comes James Harvin trying to take second back from Tyler Landry. Tajima had a good restart. He opened up a bit of a gap over these 4 Chevys. Michael Harvin now going to join his brother down there on the inside lane. Close quarters racing there through turns 3 and 4. Ashley Blake looks like she is back out on the racetrack. She's pulled out not too far ahead of the leaders, so she might end up playing a factor in this as well. She doesn't look too terribly off the pace, though. And the Harvins are going to try and work together to get up to second and third here. Good teamwork by James and Michael Harvin.
Good teamwork indeed. A battle about to erupt there for the 3rd position, though. That's the 55 going to the inside of the 66, and that's going to be a spot gain for the 55 Michael Harvin. And the 1 behind that is Kevin DuPont. DuPont's going to move into the 4th position, and hello, on the charge back up through the field, here comes Zach Dearman.
And Tim Berry as well. Corbin Taps, who had a pretty bad qualifying run, climbed his way up in the top 10 for a moment, but he's slipping back again. George Bryan and Vinny Scholes trying to pass him. JB Chanot, who also started out back, also trying to climb up the order. Karina Willis-Callaway had a pretty bad pit stop, but she is finding her way back up towards the front as well. The pit stops have jumbled up the field quite a bit as James and Michael Harvin both trying to close up to the 99 of Akira Tajima, who's proven to be very fast here early in the race. Trying to look for Toyota's third win of the year and Tajima's second. He's got a lot of very fast cars right behind him, and it looks like DuPont is going to try and break up the Harvins here. He's going to try and move into third ahead of the 55 of Michael Harvin. Side by side out of turn number 2. Harvin's got more momentum up on the outside, and he's going to clear before they get into turn 3. And the leaders are now catching the lap car of Ashley Blake, who I believe is 2 laps. No, she's only 1 lap down. About to go 2 laps down, so she could mess with this lead battle here.
And diving to the inside of lap traffic, they're trying to put some leverage between him and the car behind him. Here goes Akira Tajima down low on the 52. Going to put the 52 a lap down. Indeed. And hoping for some leverage. Not going to get it, though, as immediately these guys will go to get around.
James and Michael Harvin still working together here as teammates, as brothers, and I bet they want to get to the 1-2 positions for sure. And they're not going to let that lap car get in their way. Michael Harvin, though, still having a little bit of trouble with the 52. James is already cleared, but it looks like he might clear off at turn number 4 here. That will indeed be the case. Again, the 52 not too terribly off the pace, but definitely damaged. So she's going to fall a second lap down. The good news is, if we do get another yellow here soon, she will get one of those laps back with the free pass. But we still got quite a few cars on the lead lap here, 30 of them to be exact. Even some of the cars that were in the last accident aren't too far off the pack, the 79 and the 65. But the top 3 have now passed the 52 of Blake, and they're going to try and pull away from everybody else here.
We'll see if they can indeed do that. Haven't been able to, nobody's really been able to pull away this race just yet. Of course, we really haven't been green long enough for them to be able to do that. We'll see what they can do here for this run. Single file through most of the first top 10. It is still Akira Tajima leading the way, but here comes the 52 down to the inside, a lap down, racing the leaders. Normally that's a no-no, but looking to get back on the lead lap potentially, and a big slide there by Kevin DuPont.
He's going to lose a spot to Zach Dearman. He's probably going to lose another one to George Bryan here. That was a bad 1 and 2 for the 1 car. Vinny Schultz, Tim Berry, Karina Willis-Callaway, all back up in the top 10 despite slow pit stops. So we know those 3 definitely have contending race cars. They just got to get their track position back. Berry's going to try and pass the 62 of Vinny Schultz for 8th as they are side by side through turn 2. Landry's trying to pass DuPont, and Bryan is trying to pass the 18 of Dearman. George Bryan has not won yet this season. He's going to try and go up to P4. And up here in this top 5, Akira Tajima is the only one in the top 4 that has won this season. And then you've got Dearman and Landry, who have 6 wins between them, and Tim Berry, who adds 2 more on. So we've got 8 wins between these 3 that are all chasing down the top 4, which has 1 win between them this season.
Just Akira Tajima is doing a fantastic job right now of staying up front, manipulating the air, I'm sure, a little bit, to keep the 45 behind him. That's James Harvin has tried everything, and a little slip there through 1 and 2. That's not going to do Harvin any favors. Now the gap's starting to grow a bit amongst the leaders as these tires begin to wear out and these cars set into the racetrack. Already seeing about a half second of tire fall off, maybe just a little under half a second of tire fall off, as we get to see 28.6 to 29.2, 29.4. Harvin is just eating his tires up right now, and that's not going to do him any favors. Akira Tajima is going to love that the rest of the run. now they can just pull away.
Yeah, we've already got about 6/10 of tire fall off, and we really have not been green for that long. We've only been green for, what is it, about 15 laps or so? And
Just about, yeah.
you can see the effect the tire wear is, and that's why the tire strategy, if we get to that part of the race where we have a long green flag run, the tire strategy is going to be so interesting because we're going to have some cars try the undercut and try to get that gap over everybody else, but they're going to have their tires are going to wear out faster, and so all the cars that pit later are going to have the speed later in the run. So I'm going to be very interested to see how that ends up playing out once we get to it. But Akira Tajima has led for quite a while now. The Harvins have not been able to pass him. James Harvin has had a bit of a charge over the past couple of laps, but definitely losing some time over the last couple. So we'll see if they can mount a charge here once again, or if maybe they're going to start focusing on saving their tires. Dearman is up to 5th, Barry 6th, and Scholes 7th. I tell you, this 11 and 62, they've been picking off cars left and right, so I'd watch out for these drivers as the run goes on. They seem to be a little bit better, and as I say that, the 62 slides up the racetrack, and Darren Walker, the Michigan winner, trying to go for 2 in a row, is going to get by her for P7, it appears. Back up at the front, nothing's changed up here. I'm a bit surprised at the pace from the 52. Once she's kind of gotten tucked into this group, she's been able to keep up with them, and that's definitely good news for her if she wants to get back in this race.
We'll see what Ashley Blake can do the rest of this race. Obviously, would likely need a caution to get back on to the lead lap, but doing a fantastic job of hanging up here with the leaders. Going to take a look to the inside of the 55, heading into turn number 1. Blake's going to nose just ahead of Harvin down the back straightaway, and that is good for somebody like James Harvin, who's just ahead. That's Michael Harvin in the 55, James Harvin in the 45, trying to chase down Akira Tajima. And now to the inside, here comes car number 3 of George Bryan.
Yeah, that was bad news for Michael Harvin. Getting stuck side by side with the lap car, that gave the 3 and the 18 a lane down here. I mean, these cars have been passing a lot of cars since the restart, so we know that the 18, the 11 are very fast, and the 3 car. So this is not what you want to see, as Harvin's going to continue to lose positions up on the outside lane. One driver that was good for was his brother, James Harvin, who's closed in on Akira Tajima a little bit. Not a ton of racing for the lead here, but, you know, it's possible that they're all just trying to focus on getting to the next pit cycle, as you can already see some of the lap times, at least for Michael Harvin, who was stuck on the outside, getting into the 30s there. And we're at about a second of tire wear here, so that just goes to show you how fast these tires are getting eaten up here at Texas Motor Speedway. And again, that's going to make the tire strategy very interesting once we get to that part of the race. Tim Berry's going to move himself into 4th. He gets past Zach Dearman, and Michael Harvin's going to try and make that pass back on Dearman to get himself back in the top 5.
This is a very abrasive racetrack on tires. I know the surface isn't even a decade old, and it's amazing how much it's worn out just in the last couple years. But here is a battle about to manifest back for the, I think that's 6th and 7th. Yes, it is. And that is the 18 of Zach Dearman and the 8 of Darren Walker going at it. Darren Walker not able to get the run coming off of turn number 2, so Dearman will hold on to it for the time being.
You got the 2 orange Toyotas behind, the 62 of Vinny Scholes and the 41 of Karina Willis Callaway, racing each other side by side for 8th. Good runs for both of them. Vinny Scholes only has 3 top 10s and no top 5s on the year, so it's been a struggle for her. Karina Willis Callaway's had a bit of a better draw this year, but still a great run for both of them. We'll see if they can hold on to it. They clearly have fast race cars. They've both been able to climb their way up into the top 10, and Here comes George Bryan trying to get by the lap car, the 52. That's not going to work. Never mind. Here we go. The pit cycle starting now. Bryan's actually going to lead the lap because he stayed out and everyone else around him came in. We got about half the field coming in for pits here on lap number 52. There should be one more pit stop for these guys to make it to the end. But judging by the way these pit stops are coming in, we might have a long run here at the end if this stays green, and again, that will make the tire strategy very, very interesting for the rest of the race.
Of course, going to be imagining this will be 4 fresh tires and a splash of gas. Here comes Akita off, going to lead the field off. That's going to be Dearman in the 45, or rather James Harvin in the 45, going to be second off. Then Tim Barry, and then there's the other Harvin, Michael Harvin.
Karina Willis Calloway.
We'll see about the rest of the field once this all cycles through. There's some more into the pits. They're coming off the pits. The green car, I couldn't quite tell who that was, but coming off of the pits there, the 3 first of this bunch.
George Bryan.
That's George Bryan.
And then you've got Zach Dearman, Adrian Wheeler with a fast pit stop there. 19 at Jake Sidney as well. They're going to cycle out. And Tajima will cycle out with the lead, but his tires are going to be a little bit older than those of the 3 car of George Bryan. We'll see if the track position game is going to work out here for the 99, or if Bryan's strategy is going to work out in the long run. It looks like Bryan's going to cycle out to P5 as they're going to battle for 3rd right in front of him between the 55 of Michael Harvin and the 11 of Tim Barry. But it's a 1.5, almost 1.6 second lead now for the 99 car. We'll see if he can maintain this gap, or maybe the 45 of James Harvin will be able to close in on him.
Of course, tires are going to wear out by the end of it. You got to think maybe if he's smart, Akira Dejima will be taking it easy right now, not necessarily trying to push things, but a little bit of a slip there going through 1 and 2 that time. A little subtle slip, but even a subtle slip can ruin your tires in the long run. So got to be very, very careful here on this run.
The 3 and the 11.
Gracious.
They almost made contact while they were trying to get around the 52, who is just exiting the pits. Bryan on the fresher tires going to try and pass the 11 of Tim Barry. I don't imagine that difference in tires was going to kick in until later in the run, but you're already seeing the 3 trying to make passes here on the cars in front of him. Got to also watch out for the 8 of Darren Walker, the 40 of Adrian Wheeler, and the 18 of Zach Dearman. I'm pretty sure all of them are on the overcut strategy as well. So we'll see how it works out for them. 66-41 rounding out the top 10, and it looks like Landry's going to try and pass Dearman, but it's not going to quite work out. He doesn't quite have the room down there. 45 is trying to eat into that lead of Tajima, but he's only gaining about a 10th a lap, which, I mean, over the course of the race, that could mean a lot. I don't think the 99 is pushing it very hard. I think you're right, Josh. I think he's trying to save his stuff. Big gain on that last lap for the 45, and the 3 car is making quick work of Michael Harvin. I think these tires might be making a bigger difference than I expected this early in the run.
Absolutely. That's going to be interesting to see for the end of this, because it's going to certainly factor in who has the speed at the end of this run. You got to think, oh, we want to stretch it out. Some of them are going to want to stretch it out as long as they can to the end of this run, because you want to have the fastest, or you want to have the freshest tires rather at the end of the run. And I know, as infuriating as that maybe can be to some fans, thinking that, why does it always have to come down to tires? Well, at a place like this, sometimes that's just the name of the game. We talk about, again, mentioned how abrasive the surface has gotten. He didn't take off much time that time, though. Down from 1.038 to 1.009. So
You know, he did
perhaps
though.
either the
This three
George
car.
Bryan.
Yeah, he took off about 3/10 that last lap, and that was while he was still trying to hold off the 11 and the 55. I think this three car might get involved in this battle before we get to the last cycle. Watch that time once again. Another 2/10 go down for both the 45 and the 3. So again, I think the 99 is trying to save his stuff right now, but he's got to be careful not to get them, not to let them get too close, or otherwise he's going to end up in the middle of a battle for the lead.
But of course, you'd be thinking, well, in that case, let me just ride behind this. Let me just ride behind them, let them use up their stuff, and I can just take it easy in their draft. And that may not necessarily be a terrible idea at the end of this run. We'll just have to see what happens now, down under 7/10 of a second. And of course, again, the reason I'm saying all this is because we are likely, like, this race goes green the rest of the way. We got one more cycle remaining, and there's probably going to be closer to uh 15 laps to go by the time the cycle actually happens, as far as like what concerns the majority of the field. So
Hey,
that's why you want to go as long as you want to go as long as you can, so you have the freshest tires at the end. And of course, you got to be, hoping to your higher power that your pit crew is having a Jacksonville Jaguars type day and not a Kansas City Chiefs type of day.
here comes the 45. He's closing in fast. I think the 99 is starting to lose the tires, honestly. I don't even know if it's him saving his stuff anymore, because he is just getting hounded down by that 45 car of James Harvin. I mean, that was a difference of over 3/10 last time by. George Bryan not too far behind, and I am expecting the last pit cycle to happen around somewhere between lap 75 and lap 80. These runs are pretty short just because of how fast the tires wear out. You can already see about 6/10 of wear, and that's when we really started to see them kick in last time. But this 45 car, James Harvin, he's on a mission to try and get his first career win in the LSCI Cup Series. He's a former Amateur Series champion, so we know he can definitely get it done. He's had a solid rookie season. Of course, all the rookies have kind of been overshadowed by what Jake Sidney's been doing this year, and even to another extent, Joanna Clark. But James Harvin has been solid and consistent for this race team, and he's been doing some good things over there at Motor Racing Ventures. He'd definitely like a win here in the NTT Data Chevrolet. Three cars, the three cars pace is starting to go away here. He's not really closing in on the 99 as much. Maybe the 99 has kind of kicked it into gear now that he's got somebody chasing him.
Now, we're coming around for 33 laps to go the next time through. And again, one more cycle remains, and each runs about 28 to 32 laps. So I think now you can just about afford to push it a little harder, and Akira Tajima wants to keep getting these bonus points to lock up the most points led for this race, and we'll see
Here
if he can
comes
indeed do
Harvin.
that. But here comes Harvin down to the inside, trying to do a Zach Dearman earlier in the race and move that 99 up out of the way, side by side down the back straightaway.
Here we go, going into turn 3. They're going to battle each other for the race lead. The 45 has been faster on this run. We're going to see if he'll be able to clear. They're still side by side out of turn 4. But James Harvin's going to have the preferred lane through the quad oval, and he has got the lead. James Harvin up to the front in the number 45. Tajima will slip to second. And I mean, despite the leaders swapping the lead, third, fourth, and fifth really didn't close in that much. But one thing that's going to be interesting about this last cycle, the previous cycle, you really saw two different strategies there. But in this last cycle, we're going to see a lot of crew chiefs start to roll the dice and maybe start to pit their cars a lot earlier than they were before, or a lot later than they were before. We're going to have a longer spread on the pit cycle. If you watched the Talladega race 2 weeks ago, we had an 8-lap spread on the green flag pit cycle during that race. So you know how chaotic things can get with a long pit cycle spread, and not to mention the risk of a caution during the pit cycle, which happened in the Mansfield
Absolutely.
race. So
Absolutely.
that could shake things up as well. But you know what else could shake things up? Lap traffic, and the leaders are about to catch the 79 of Kobe Hollenbeck, who is hobbling out there with a damaged race car.
Kobe Hollenbeck, more like Kobe Hopplebeck here on the back straightaway at Texas Motor Speedway as the leaders start to close in. Trying to take a look to the inside. Hollenbeck will have to get out of the way. Blue flag's going to be shown at the start-finish line, and here comes the 45 to the inside. Gets through well. Kia Tajima's going to be a little slower to get by. It doesn't look like it's going to hold him up that much.
Well, yeah,
and
you don't want
down
to
and
hold up your
around,
teammate.
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
You know what, though? The 99's got to run. He's going to look to the inside of the 45, but he didn't have enough grip to really keep that momentum going. So, good attempt, but he didn't quite have enough to get there. Maybe the 99, again, is starting to kick it into gear later in the run. I'm going to try and pass him before the cycle is over, but yeah, these two, 2.7 seconds ahead of the 3 car. The 3 is losing time, so that strategy, at least initially, hasn't worked out too well for George Bryan in terms of trying to win the race, but it's kept him up in the top 3, so it hasn't been all bad for him. But I mean, these two are looking like past the field right now, but you never know what could happen on this final pit cycle, so we got to keep that in mind. The strategies could get pretty crazy here, and I'm really excited to see what ends up happening. Tajima tried to look again on the entry of turn 1, again did not have the momentum. Now he's trying to get a run out of turn number 2, and I think he was definitely saving his stuff there earlier in the run, because here he comes. He's going to try and pass the 45 back on the inside lane, but the 45's rolling the top really good through 3 and 4, and he's once again going to hold on to it. Tajima's going to have more chances, though, to get by that 45 car. We're 3/4 of the way through this thing. We've got about 26, coming to 25 laps to go. And this thing is definitely not decided yet.
Absolutely not. And we'll see if Akira Tajima can throw something at the 45 of James Harvin before this pit cycle begins. Closing back in a little bit, looked like coming out of turn number 4 that time. We'll see what the gap is this time. It's going to be a little bigger. It's going to be 2.4, so about a quarter second that time through. Behind is Kia Tajima from the 45 of James Harvin. Out of turn number 2, Harvin, again, a great exit coming out of turn number 2. And this end, basically full throttle around once again, and you see a little bit of a gain there by Tajima, but not a great exit at all. Slid up a little higher, but we'll see. Maybe the 99 still gained some ground and took out 400ths there. Not a whole lot, but it is something. It is not an insubstantial amount given how close they were. They're already so close. And Akira Tajima trying everything he can to get back around that 45 before these pit stops erupt.
Yeah, these pit stops are going to happen.
To just ride around in the tire tracks and, you know, it's a game of chicken. When's the 45 going to pit? You pit, I pit, something like that.
These guys could pit right now if they really wanted to. There's 23 laps to go. They can make it to the end, so... I mean, if I were one of these crew chiefs, especially for some of the drive... Oh, Joanna Clark's going to try it. I was just going to say, if I was one of the crew chiefs for some of the cars running in the back, I'd just try and pit them here and see what happens. The 58 team looks like that's what they're going to be trying here. And Tajima's going to pit before the 45. So here we go. Tyler Landry also coming in. So Clark was the first one to come in the 58. And now we've got a couple of our leaders coming in, the 41, the 9, and 92 also coming into pit, as well as some of the other cars running in the back. Here we go. This is going to be the most interesting cycle of the race. It's going to be very spread out over multiple laps. And I imagine if I'm James Harvin, yep, I just come in this lap. I don't want to risk going that off sequence from the 99. I just want to stick right with him.
And no screw-ups here. You cannot afford to mess up on this stop. This is the money stop right here.
Tajima's out of the pits
Tajima
already.
comes out.
6641 leaving the pits. We're going to keep an eye on the 45 car of James Harvin. We're going to watch his pit stop here, as he is the one that led them into the pits this time by. Uh-oh. Damon Kirby had a bit of problems getting into his pit stall, but he does back up
Uh-oh.
into it. That's going to be bad news for him. He was having a pretty good run, a bit of a bottle up right here at the end of the pits. Here comes the 45 leaving the pits. The 99 is on the track. You can see him behind. We'll see if he can accelerate fast enough. I don't think he will. I think the 99 is going to stay ahead, but James Harvin's going to try everything in his power to get ahead of him, but he's not quite going to be able to. But he will have one lap fresher tires. So we'll see if he's able to run down that 99 car. But he's still going to have to try and get up to speed here, as that first lap after leaving the pits, those tires are still cold, so you're not going to be as fast as Tajima wants to get by the 24 of Cooper Spur, the lap car, before anything else happens. JB Chanot in the 29 also rejoining the track here. She has some rear end damage, and that's another one of Akiya Tajima's teammates, as the 79 of Kobe Hollenbeck was trying to race the 45 to help Tajima, and now Tajima's rolled up on Chanot here in the 29 car, and he's having some trouble getting around her, so some of these lap cars are also going to play a factor, but it looks like these guys have gapped the rest of the field considerably. 4.5 seconds back to third place Tim Berry, so I do believe that unless we get a late yellow, it's going to be between Akiya Tajima and James Harvin, and Akiya Tajima is doing a great job putting a barrier between himself and the 45.
Absolutely, and we'll see if maybe James Harvin can get around that traffic. It's a little harder to get around, you got, if it's one car, whatever, but two, oh man, especially, and we've talked about it so many times, it's one thing to catch, it's another thing to pass, even at a place like this where it's been fairly easy on fresher tires. You can see it. It takes about a lap to do it, just because of the nature of the track, how much less baking there is in turn 1 and 2. You got to kind of work it, and then carries over to 3 and 4 where you're full throttle. But we'll see what they can do here, as one car now separates them. Harvin got around one.
Got around
One
the
more to get
24.
around to catch. That was the 24, thank you. And we'll have one more to get around before catching Akiya Tajima. Still within 0.7 of a second of the 99.
I did not like that corner exit for Tajima. He was pretty slow through turn 2 there. If I'm the 29 at JB Chanot, of course, that's my teammate leading the race right in front of me. So I don't think you need me to tell you that I would not be risking losing the race for Columbia Motorsports just to try and get a lap back here. I believe she is only one lap down. She is, so if a caution were to come out, she'd get the free pass. But this 29 car does have fresher tires than the 99, so she is faster than him. And Tajima's just kind of hoping that she doesn't get in the way here, as James Harvin tries to close in. Half a second separates the two. And we're coming to 14 laps to go this time by, so the laps are winding down, but there is still time for James Harvin. Lost a little bit of ground last time, but he's still staying within striking distance of that 99. He just needs to gain a little bit more, and then you might have a shot at him. And of course, he's going to have to try and figure out what to do with this 29 car as well. So do you try and wait behind the 29 with the fresher tires and see if the 29 tries to pass the 99, or do you try and take care of the 29 yourself?
Well, I'd wait. I'd wait until about 5 laps to go, and if nothing's been done at that point, go. But not a good corner there for Akiya Tajima at all.
29 did not get a good exit though, so Tajima's going to be fine. 24 Cooper Spur is well behind them now. He seems to be, I think he was in one of the accidents, so he has some damage though, even though it's not really that visible. I think he got some right side damage, and evidently something under the car is not right either. But here we go. 2.26 last time by. Tajima once again wide through turn 2. He's been struggling through that corner on this run. The handling is going away on that 99 car. He's just got to hold on for dear life in these last 11 laps. This is the kind of thing that I was hoping to see. Drivers driving on the ragged edge here at Texas, getting as much as the tires will let them get. Tajima's going to have to hold on for just a little bit longer to try and get his second win of the season. Of course, James Harvin trying to get his first win of his career. If he can try and outdrive Akira Tajima, this will be a big win for James Harvin. But Tajima had a great turn 2 there, and he's going to gap both the 29 and the 45, and I think the 45 wants the 29 out of the picture now.
I would think so. Now that gap's starting to grow between the 99 and the 29, and pressed against the backside of that 29, not going to get to the inside, and a higher arc. Oh, boy.
Tajima.
All the way down to the inside goes Tajima.
You know what? Tajima's sacrificing a lot of speed in the middle of that corner, but he's been getting good launches off the corner, so I wonder if kind of that slow apex is strategic there in the 99. That's just the line he's running. It's a bit concerning when you go through the corner, but by the time you get back to turn 3, he's well ahead, and here we go. James Harvin going to try and take care of JB Chanot here. They're going to be side by side. This is what Tajima wants to see, and he's going to hope that that 29 does a little bit of a favor for her teammate, and she is going to get back in front of the 45, so she is, in fact, doing a bit of a favor for Akira Tajima. She's being a great teammate right now. I know there's probably a few people that don't like seeing this almost team orders-like thing, but hey, you know what? If it's going to win you the race, then I don't see anything wrong with it.
We'll see how long it can carry on for, coming for 7 laps to go this time. Again, that time by the 29 over the 45, and the 99 pulls away to just under a half second the last time through. This time through, we'll see what the intervals look like. It looks like it might be a little bigger this time through. 0.602, so yeah, 6 thousandths of a second gained on the last lap. And a wider corner there for the 29. Here comes Harvin firing it in, trying oh so desperately to get around. And
JB
this
Chanel.
time, well, looks like going through 4 finally does. Still
Now,
side by side. Jeez.
They're still racing each other. This 29 is not giving up. Looks like the 45 is finally going to get her in turn 1, but look at how much time that he lost to Akira Tajima trying to get rid of that 29 car. I just want to point out, though, 3rd place is another Motor Racing Ventures car, of course, Michael Harvin. 4th place is Adrian Wheeler. MRV currently have spots 2 through 4, but they don't have spot number 1. This is a great run for that team, but I'm sure they're going to want to get this win here. And now that the 29 is behind the 45, Harvin can just focus on Tajima. We're going to have 5 laps to go here. Will there be enough time for James Harvin to make the pass on Akira Tajima?
He's been closing in. I think Harvin's a skosh faster than that 99. Out of 4 this time, we'll see what the interval looks like. At 4 to go, 0.311. Closing in little by little, but is it going to be enough here in these last few laps? A higher arc that time for Akira Tajima through 1 and 2.
Yeah, he's been changing up his line from the last few laps. He's going a little higher through the corner. He saw that he was losing a lot of time in the middle of the corner, and he did not want to give James Harvin a chance to get to his inside. So that's a smart switch up there for Tajima. Will it be enough? I think this 45 is a little bit faster. There's only 3 laps to go, though. And again, it's one thing to catch a car, and it's another thing to pass them, especially on old tires. And the tires are pretty worn out right now. We got about a second of tire wear on both of these leaders. So we'll see if the rookie will be able to get by the experienced Akira Tajima. 2 laps to go this time by.
They have just been torturing their tires on this run, trying to stay close to each other.
Oh,
or, well,
man.
rather, Here we go. Another higher arc for the 99 that time through. And it's really starting to slow up now. Don't know if the 45 is going to have a shot. Coming to the white flag this time. Not really gaining a whole lot. Akiya Tajima may have this race in the bag as the white flag comes out.
1 lap to go here at Texas. I reacted like that because Tajima was very slow on entry. He's going to be slow on entry again, but I think he's going to be all right. Harvin, though, with a solid turn 2. He's going to try one last gas, rolling up to 3 and 4. I don't think he's close enough to make a move, though. But we didn't think that about Adrian Wheeler, and he still won Talladega. But I don't think it's going to happen this time. Coming out of turn number 4, Akiya Tajima is going to take the checkered flag in the Lone Star 600.
And that was a dominant drive by Akiya Tajima as well. Fantastic drive by that driver. Good strategy by the team. Fantastic race across the board.
And on the final lap, Tim Berry got into the top 5, and that's significant because that is his 10th top 5 of the year. He has broken yet another record, and he took the impressive Season 1 record set by Jack Gino of 9 top 5s for himself. So that's just yet another record in the books for Tim Berry this season. But today is about Akiya Tajima. He gets his 2nd win of the season, 2nd win for Columbia Motorsports as well, and 3rd win for Toyota. And we pointed it out at the start of the race, Josh. The Toyotas were very fast in qualifying. Not all of them finished up there, but one of them did, and he managed to get the win. So he clearly had some race pace in him. 25 cars finished on the lead lap. JT Boyd looks like he blew a piston at some point in the race, so that's a bad break for him. And Jake Sidney fell 5 laps down, so evidently we had some mechanical failures towards the end of the race, and that's not too surprising. This is a race of attrition. This is the longest race on the season, so you were going to expect that. But we were so focused on the lead battle that we didn't even notice that there were any mechanical failures. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's race. Josh, what did you think of that race?
A very interesting one for sure. Not it was a little crazy earlier on, but as the field downsized from the incidents, we got into the good strategy that we I think expected to see in this one over the course of 100 laps. And indeed we did see it. Akiya Tajima did a fantastic drive holding on, pit a good time, manipulated the air. So it's as much on the it's as much for the driver as it is for the pit crew. Pit crew did a good job getting the 99 on and off the pits, and Akiya Tajima had to do the rest, and indeed he did. Congratulations on your win in the Lone Star 600.
Yep, Tajima first, and a trio of Motor Racing Ventures cars finishing 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Even though that team didn't end up getting the win, still a great race for them regardless, especially since, those are the 3 cars that have kind of struggled a little bit more compared to their lead driver, Jacob Lopez, this year. So it's great to see the whole team showing out. And of course, Lopez qualified 6th, but he ended up in a wreck earlier, so he didn't get to finish anywhere near where he started, unfortunately. Tim Berry, of course, just broke the top 5's record. I think it's really telling that it took him 24 races to break the top 5's record, which was set in 16 races back in season 1. But he still broke it. George Bryan finished 6th. Good run for him. I mean, that's a lot of Chevrolets right there. The Chevys were very fast, but they still ended up losing to the Toyota. Almost a reverse of the real life cup race at Kansas, where you had all those Toyotas up at the front, and then they all ended up losing to the Chevy. So there you go. Karina Willis Calloway finishes 7th. Good run for her. I believe that's her 6th top 10 of the year. Darren Walker finishes in 8th. Tyler Landry, Zach Dearman round out the top 10. Most of your usual suspects up here with a couple of surprises. And yeah, like we mentioned, 30 cars finished the race. 5 cars ended up retiring. And next week we're going to be going to the North Wilkesboro Speedway. And Josh, what are you expecting for that race? It's not the crazy tire wear version that you see in the Wawa Cup Series, but North Wilkesboro's always had a good race. Maybe give us a preview for what we might be seeing in that one.
Well, It's certainly going to be an interesting one for sure. North Wilkesboro is such a different track. It's such a unique track compared to any others on the calendar. It's not a whole lot of banking. It's only about what 14 degrees of banking. Like I think that's right going through the turns, but you're also on a slope going down. You're going downhill in the back straightaway, uphill on the front straightaway. It's going to be an interesting dynamic for sure. There's going to be a lot of slipping and sliding, I imagine, not necessarily, in the wrecking sense, but there's going to be that, like, the bumpers are going to come out, I would imagine. There's going to be some interesting racing going on there. And of course, if it goes green a long way, a lot of strategies get cooked up at North Wilkesboro. So we'll see what happens. Certainly going to be an interesting and I would imagine a very fun race as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to that. North Wilkesboro's been one of the best races on the calendar just about every year, and I am expecting nothing less of it this season as a late season race for the first time. So that'll kind of change. I would say that would change really how the race plays out. But of course, the championship battle has been decided since about week 12 this year. So, uh, but yeah, that should still be an interesting race. And that's going to be next week, of course. Congratulations to Akia Tajima and Columbia Motorsports once again on this week's win here at Texas. They definitely needed that. Tajima's been pretty inconsistent this year. The whole team has in general. So it's nice to see them back in victory lane. And on behalf of my co commentator, Josh Williamson, thank you for joining me in the booth, by the way. I always appreciate having you up here. But this is Brennan Wilmington signing out. Here are your point standings after race number 24 of 28, which will be on your screen right now.